JD Vance and the Department of Justice has now announced that they are creating a new position, and it is the new Assistant Attorney General specifically to target and to tackle fraud.
So this is really in response to what people have been calling for, saying, is there ever going to be accountability? Are they going to go after anyone? Now, I think there's one, it should be welcome news to a lot of people, but also in some ways may delay some things. Investigations can continue on that may have already started. But this Assistant Attorney General that will be specifically for fraud will have national jurisdiction, so not just in Minnesota, not just in California, but can really go after and prosecute fraud wherever it is found. But they said that this position will be announced. They know who they want it to be, but because it's an assistant attorney general process, they have to nominate and then has to be confirmed to this position. So the person will have a lot more authority than just having someone already within the Department of Justice saying, hey, this is your new beat. This is what you're going after. But that comes with it. It'll take some time. It'll have to go through a Senate nomination and confirmation process.
I think it's probably a good thing to have someone who's specifically looking at this. I told Will I have a kind of a visceral reaction at first because of all of the positions that were created under the Biden administration, whether that was the committee, remember the kind of misinformation committee, the misinformation board. I almost have that when I start hearing words like fraud, misinformation. They're like triggers for me right now. So when you really, though, break it down and look at it, I think this is good. If you have someone who's an expert in what's going on in the whole fraud scandal, it's probably good. We have someone to turn to, also someone that can speak on the matter. JD Vance did discuss this, I believe. Is that right? Let's hear from him. Bite 6.
We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
The vice president also says, here's why this is better than doing even like a special counsel. One, a special counsel kind of is a temporary position specifically for one thing. With this, it's going to have White House supervision. So the vice president, the president will be able to speak into it, like making sure that they will be continuing that mission and meeting standards of finding fraud in the United States and getting it prosecuted and getting convictions. But also that he even brings up something that we've talked about many times on air about, he's saying this is constitutionally legitimate. This is going to be a person nominated and then confirmed by the Senate to this position. It's not a situation with a special counsel that just gets appointed and no real oversight and has all those questions that come with it, that even people like Justice Clarence Thomas has even raised recently in cases whether or not even the special counsel process is legitimate. It's something we are happy probably to not see another special counsel, but trying to do this the right way, having it be confirmed by the Senate, and having a real tangible goal of seeking out fraud and being able to use the resources of the DOJ to bring about these cases instead of maybe just one U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, say, that goes after fraud nationwide, but it's really limited to that office. This is someone that is high up in the DOJ and will be able to go after it and use the full resources of the DOJ to prosecute these cases.
So even a future administration has this as one of their appointed positions. They appoint, obviously it goes through the whole process of confirmation. I think that's a good thing. We'll also note and we'll hear from this person, see if they're up to the job. And if they're not, we know that the Republicans, and the Democrats, but the Republicans even, will make sure of it and will really take their time, making sure this is someone who is qualified.
And, we've heard in the past the term czar that's used a lot by the different administrations. I mean, obviously,
Russians.
Right. But they became very popular, especially during the Obama administration. He would have all the czars that would come out. And it was people that were tasked with doing things, but it didn't really have the full weight of the government. Yeah. They could make recommendations. They could meddle in a lot of things.
The name always weirded me.
Right. Me as well, because it's very Soviet.
Yeah.
But then even Kamala Harris was famously the border czar, that you are tasked with getting to the bottom of this. Here's why I like this move of making it an assistant attorney general. It's the concept of like, oh, I'm going to make a fraud czar that all these presidents have done. And what happens with those positions at the end of the day? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing really. They talk a lot and not a lot happens. Yeah. However, with this, making it a confirmed position makes it have that scrutiny.
And they have power.
Exactly. Power. They have real power. They are an actual assistant attorney general. They will have the ability to bring cases, not just write a prosecution recommendation to the DOJ.
Not a nice
They
note.
have an office within it where they can actually go after fraudsters. And once again, when you're talking about what we've just seen in Minnesota and hearing that they want to turn to look at California, New York, and other states as well. And JD Vance even brought up his own state, which is led by Republicans of Ohio, that there are these fraudulent situations going on. I think that this is long overdue and will take time, but I also hope it's something that whomever the next president is doesn't just shut down.
Yeah, it doesn't get rid of. I mean, hopefully the answer is, of course not. You would love that. You would love someone to make sure that they go in and audit the books, make sure that things are taken care of, and that if your tax dollars are being spent on social programs or whatever it may be, that it's spent on the ones that you want it to be and isn't going to what we know what happened in Minnesota or what was alleged in Minnesota, mass chaos. I mean, we said Georgia's checking in. We know Texas, Tennessee, all of them are saying, yes, of course, bring it. Bring it to Maryland, one person just said. This is what's happening. Ohio, California, everyone else is saying they have no problem at all. Of course, it should be checked. It will become I'm sure it'll become a political tool, though, where they go,
always.
Oh, it's a voter ID of 2026. It's how dare they want this? How dare they want some sort of check to make sure?
And once again, it's where you see when states sue the government because of like defunding of Planned Parenthood and things like that, that their whole argument in many cases is, no, you've been giving us this money, you can never take it away.
Right.
And that's kind of was the argument with a lot of the cuts to like USAID. You've been giving us this money, you can never look at it and take it away. We are now entitled to these dollars in perpetuity forever. You can never stop giving money. I think that's what the argument's going to be here from many on the left and many blue states is like, no. You give us money. You don't get to have oversight and to see whether or not we have mechanisms in place to ensure that this isn't just getting stolen.